I want to talk about site maintenance now to kind of focus on when you should be making these changes, how to go about making the changes, and even when you should just completely ignore some of this data that you're seeing. Now, with my site here, my Down Comforter site that I've been going back through and reviewing traffic and data for today for you guys, I want to make a couple of smart changes to my site to help boost my search rankings and or to help boost my sales. This could involve adding new content to your existing pages. It could involve rearranging or even changing the advertising on your pages. Or it could involve adding new supporting info pages. So I want to go through and briefly talk about each of these. Now, what I mean by a smart update is using the information at your disposal. The information I've gotten off of Google Analytics, the information I've gotten off of my Amazon affiliate account. I want to identify the pages that have the most potential on my site, the products that are performing good, the ones that aren't performing as good, so I then know what to actually change on my website. You should really never revisit one of your old websites and just blindly make changes or content additions to it. You should always have a concrete reason backed up by data to support what kind of change it is that you're wanting to make. If you follow by that rule, you will find yourself making much more effective changes to your sites in the future. So as an example here, on this page, let me get logged into my site real quick. On my IKEA page, the number one change that I want to make here would actually be my advertising. Knowing for a fact that 2 of my 4 advertisements are actually not converting for me is very clear information that tells me I need to make a change there. So I'm simply going to go in to where I have those products being advertised, and I'm simply going to wipe out those first advertisements here. Now I'm using a little bit of special CSS coding to simply help with the spacing of these. So I'm going to make a couple of adjustments to that as well, just to make sure all of this ends up looking right on my final site. So I just make a couple of minor updates like this. You can see how this only took me maybe 30 seconds or something to go in and make these changes. And now I just need to make sure I get my ads lined up correctly and my changes complete now. So very simple, quick, effective change that should have long-term results for me in terms of my actual earnings. Now, as far as adding new content to a page, if I go back and look at my traffic data, If I'm looking at the search terms that are bringing me the most number of impressions, but are not bringing me a lot of clicks, my twin size mattress page, for example, I'm pretty sure this is it's not specifically on twin size mattresses. I believe this is my mattress and bedding accessory sizes guide. So this particular page has a lot of potential, but ultimately it's not performing all that great. It's not attracting the people to actually come in off of Google to land on my site. So what I want to look at is the title of my page and also the meta description of my page. So up here at the top, I have mattress and bedding accessory sizes guide. And then for my meta description, if you're in the market for a new bed or just need new accessories for existing bedding, our size guide and dimensions chart can help. This definitely is a little on the plain side. I could certainly try to spice this up a little bit to make it more appealing. I could say something like our bedding and mattress size guide and dimensions chart can help you make an informed decision on which size will, or I can even say style, will work the best for you. Simply making any kind of change to it when you know that it's not performing at all, any kind of a change is often going to be better than no change at all. So again, really short, quick update that I have just made, just modifying the description of that page. And this again should have some long-term beneficial results for my website as a result. Now, even though I kind of changed or added content there, I wouldn't really consider that to be full-fledged adding content. I didn't actually go in and edit my page and add additional information to it. Certain pages of my site, my Pins on Pyrenees page, I believe was one. Yes, this is my third most popular landing page off of search engines, according to this list. This page, even though I'm not getting a lot of traffic from it currently, I believe there is a strong potential for a lot of traffic from it. It's already showing a decent number of impressions, even though it's not up in the 10,000 plus neighborhood. But the part that I'm really more interested in is my average position here of 29. Knowing that my Pins on page has an average ranking of 29, there's a couple things that I could do to that page to try to increase that search ranking. The easiest one of those things that you can do is simply going to be to add new content to it, where I can go to my Pins on Pyrenees page here. I'll take a look at what I currently have on the page. Not exactly a ton of content. And then I can go into my actual page content and make some changes to it, or additions to it, more importantly. My total word count for this page is only 473 words. So I can definitely see how I could use some more content here. By simply adding in a couple hundred more words worth of content, pretty much just another subsection on the page, maybe giving some stats for the actual product, something like what I've done here on my IKEA page. You can see down at the bottom, I give just some basic information, dimensions and weights and things of that nature. This kind of stuff is all keyword rich. There's all kinds of things being talked about in here that are either keywords that people search for, or it highly relates to my main topic. Fabric filling material, panel stitching, thread counts, filling weights, all of this kind of stuff relates to my down comforters, my IKEA down comforters. So I can do the same kind of thing here with this Pins on Pyrenees page. Instead of just giving basic textual information about it, I could then go and find out some of the more specific specs of the actual product, list some of this information, maybe even go on with a couple of additional paragraphs worth of text content, and I should be able to bump this average 29 ranking up a little bit higher than what it currently is. Maybe I could get into page 2, or even with enough content added, get some of those rankings up into page 1. You also have to remember your average position here. If it's showing something like 29, you may even have a ranking or two on the first page. This doesn't mean that you don't have any. It just means of all the keywords that this is keeping track of, these are your average rankings. A good comparison is my IKEA page here. I have an average position of 10 on the IKEA page. But when I look at the actual keywords that I'm ranking on, my Saran, for example, I have an average of 3.5. IKEA my Saran, average of 4.2. In fact, on this page here, a large majority of them, everything except for number 1 and number 8 and number 9, all the other keywords on this top 10 listing are all for the IKEA page. And in fact, every single one of them is above number 10. So they're all top 10 Google rankings. Even though over here, it's showing me an average position of 10. So that means I do have some keywords that are ranking worse than those. But obviously, I have plenty that are doing better. So the goal is not necessarily to get an entire page for all of the keywords, the average position. You don't necessarily have to get this up to 10 or higher, or lower, I should say. You simply want to make improvements to it. Look at the ones that are showing the most amount of traffic potential and have the highest positions, and target those pages to make content additions to help and improve those rankings. Now, another part of this is adding new supporting info pages. What I mean by that is the informational articles that you have. Add some more of these articles. And if you remember how last week we discussed funneling your traffic from your info pages to your product pages, that is essentially what you want to do. You build more info pages, you funnel that traffic into this product page, and make sure you're doing this with relevant keywords. So down at the bottom of a new info page that you create, you might have a sentence kind of like this one here, ready to get your own Pins on Pyrenees. You turn this into a link that points back to the page that you're trying to boost the rankings of. By building out more info pages on your site and linking those pages specifically to one of your product pages that you want to increase the rankings for, you will find that that average position increases by doing that. So adjust the content that's already there, change your title, your meta description. If you're not getting a lot of clicks off of your impressions, but if you need to bump your average position, either add more content to the page itself and or build more info pages on your site and link them up to this page using keyword-rich anchor text. Doing this kind of stuff, you're focusing the work still on your own website. But again, you're not doing it blindly. I'm not going through and creating new info pages for all of my different product pages on this site. I would just do it for this one to try to boost the rankings of this one in the search rankings. So that's all about making smart updates and smart changes to your site.